You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no no, oh no no, it's another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Yay!
Welcome back to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this February 17th, 2021. We have probably the best looking person we've ever had on our show.
After me?
After Greg, yes, of course. This is Sherry Nelson. She is a co-host to many things. I believe approximately 1,000 different programs she's a co-host for. All the way from Canada. She walked here, everybody, down to the Oregon border just to participate in this. Or at the very least, she walked into another room in her house somewhere in the darkness that is known as Canada, and to participate in this episode. And she'll be helping us later on to discuss and help our client, America North. So welcome very much, Sherry Nelson, to our little program. And I think Greg has the most questions to ask you right off the bat, don't you, Greg?
I do. So you said you wanted to move to America, get a citizenship, and I would love to move to Canada. So can we swap? Does it work that way?
Maybe.
We could just trade our
think we
citizenships?
If there's some way where we could swap her for you, Greg, I'd vote for that.
I'm sure you would. She'd be the co-host of this show.
Yes, but sex sells, and you know Greg sells the sex, so that didn't come out right.
I sell to
Oh no,
sex
it comes out that way all the time.
A lot of it.
every time.
That was an earlier episode, actually, where we discussed about sex selling, long before we had guests.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that long ago. We just started doing guests at the beginning of the year, although we did have one earlier last Halloween. But so Sherry, what exactly prompted you to become a model for Maxim when most of your life you were selling lumber in the Great Northwest?
Yeah. Yes, I was selling lumber for my family in British Columbia. And actually, quite a bit of my lumber went into the United States because we were 40 miles north of the US border. And I have a lot of great traders in Oregon. And Brendan, I was logistically, I sold a little bit of lumber into northern Florida. So that was a big deal because in my office, I had this map of pins, and my dad would come up and he'd check out to see where the lumber was moving and things like that. And I remember putting that pin near Tampa. And,
Brendan has some of your lumber. Brendan's bought some of that lumber.
I have some of the lumber. It's frames out a certain window in my house, I'm pretty sure.
High quality lumber.
It is.
What was the name of the company, Greg? I'm just curious since you know what he got.
What company?
The company that sold the lumber. What was the name of it, Greg?
I don't know the name of Sherry's company.
Well, how did you know what Brendan had gotten then?
Well, she said she sold lumber in the Florida area, and Brendan buys a lot of lumber.
Greg has
got a lumber thing, a fetish.
Greg is a psychic. I don't know where,
Yeah.
Brendan has a lumber fetish?
Yeah, he buys a lot really He can't stop himself.
What does he do with it, Greg?
Everything. What doesn't he do with it?
I'm really more of a bamboo guy than a traditional lumber,
Is
I'm a mahogany
bamboo a
man.
big competitor for your sawmill, Sherry, or
Bamboo?
rattan? Yeah, or rattan? Did you have to fight them
No.
off?
We did construction lumber. We did mostly 2x4 through 2x10. We did trusses and things like that. But yeah, no, Brendan's right. If he has window frames, he could have got it from us. Usually we had it a stamp. So our sawmill was number 14 Kofi. So if you ever see some board, there's an ink stamp there. But anyway, I guess to answer your question, no, there was a photographer saw my Facebook photo. And
All right, I forgot about our question.
Let's talk wood.
Sorry
get into
about that.
lumber.
It's a combination. You have lumber and then you have Maxim, which eventually results in wood for somebody. But anyway,
Welcome to Wood Talk. ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen. Today's episode, bamboo.
right.
So this man, he said that there was a Maxim cover girl contest, and he said I should enter it, and I didn't think I could, because usually those are American only.
So this is just
Contestant?
some random guy on Facebook, some perv was scrolling through Facebook and came across you and said,
Well,
"Hey,
this is a good perv, because I
Oh.
got lucky.
like me.
Woo!
did you get
So-
lucky, Greg?"
No, I'm a good perv.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'm chaotically good. Perv.
My future husband, possibly.
I think you're just a perv, to be honest. I don't know that we need to get into character alignment relative to this. I think you're just
No,
a
we
Yeah.
don't need any anti-pervite.
So you won the contest, I assume?
No. A really pretty girl won the contest. And I came in the top 4, though. I came in 3rd, and Maxim magazine, they're really good to me. I got a full page, and they're a great company to be affiliated with. And so it was a fluke. I never intended of having it go anywhere, because at the time when I was in lumber and everything was done over the phone, and if you Googled me, you'd never see me. So I thought, well, maybe that'll be a nice picture of me if ever one day someone Googled me. So I entered it, and I thought I'd be out in a week. And I remember that they had a questionnaire that you had to fill out, and then they would approve you or disapprove of you. And I answered my questions, and then I saw the other girls' questions, and I thought, oh, I'm not even going to make it in there, because my answers were completely different than the other girls. And
What would be an example of a question or a response that you put in that you
well,
thought
one of
was
the
good?
most common questions was, if you win a cover and $25,000 and our currency, so that probably worked out to about 32,000 Canadian. And I thought, wow. So I said, well, it was to support the Jared Allen Wounded Warriors, their homes for them.
Mhm.
So I thought, well, I'm just happy to have been online, and you can see a nice picture of me. So I said, I donate it all. So I said that if I won the money, I'd donate it all, half to the Gary Sinise Foundation for his military vets.
Uh-huh.
And the other half, I would try and divvy it up amongst pro bono veterinarians that do care for animals, life-threatening care, that for people that couldn't afford it. So
Did you pick
I answered that-
veterinarians because it sounds so much like veterans? So you went like one veteran organization and
No,
one
I got a
veterinarian
soft spot.
organization?
No, I got a soft spot for veterans and veterinarians, for animals, and so I answered that way. And then it said, what do you like to do in your spare time? And I said, I like to trade stocks. And yeah,
This is a
and-
hobby.
well, my dad and I, we kind of competed. It's a fun banter thing. So, but it turned out funny, because, I'd have a lot of people voting, and sometimes they'd leave a comment, and often the women said, I'm voting for you because you're not going to spend the money on a photo shoot.
Ah,
And so food for thought for anyone entering a contest, you really got to pay it forward. So, and it helped me get the female vote, and I'm friends with many of the girls that I met that were voting for me that way. So, yeah.
so you came a top 4, and did they like fly you down to LA for like some special thing, or?
Well, the girl that won, I think she lived in LA, but COVID had happened by the time they had picked the winner,
Oh,
and the
okay.
borders were closed anyways. So good for them for not picking a Canadian.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So this all happened in the time of COVID.
No, it
essentially.
happened right until COVID. So I started in August of 2019, and it ended, I think, January. January 2020.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, so it's been just a year that I was in that contest.
So all of
Wow.
the accolades and all of the parading around you could have done was destroyed by this virus. So one more thing to hate the virus for.
Yes. What a true tragedy of this virus.
I don't know though, because leading up to it, about 2 weeks before, I was flying all over the place. Whether it was applying for lumber jobs, or I was lucky to go to an Oscar party, and then COVID hit. But I don't know that I would have gotten any of these co-hosting jobs, because I was in the air traveling so much that I wasn't sedentary enough to, do a project like that, or perhaps having Zoom boom like it has. I don't know that there would have been those opportunities for me. I might have would have been up and down right off the bat. So I don't know. I think I lucked out having.
What shows have you co-hosted?
Pardon me?
What shows have you co-hosted?
Well, I'm predominantly on a show called Brian Sebastian's Movie Reviews and More. And I do mostly the more part, where we interview co-hosts. Yeah, and I talk to fitness people, poets, musicians, actors, things like that. I've co-hosted on Debbie Perkins' Red Carpet radio show. And Canadian, I was a guest, and then he called me to co-host on the freaking awesome podcast out of Toronto, and I got to meet the Michael DesBarres on that interview. So
is that Pamela DesBarres' former husband?
Yes.
Michael DesBarres, he was in a band, right? Wasn't he?
He's done everything. He's an amazing guest. You have to bring him on. He was in MacGyver, and then you're right, he was the singer for the Power Station after Robert Palmer left.
Is he still gorgeous?
Yes.
Well, he had hair. I remember that was it. He had like big hair back in the day.
Beautiful hair.
He does a radio show with Stevie Van Zandt, The Underground.
He does the Sirius XM show with him?
Yes. So he's got his own show. And I'd love to interview his ex-wife, Pamela DesBarres. Like, she'd be a fun one.
Oh, yeah, she's got stories I've been told. Well, feel free to give us your entire Rolodex. We don't have a problem with that. We like calling people that don't know us in the middle of the night just to get them to do this program.
No, they'd be good. Your audience would love them. Like, the diversity is great. And you guys ask good questions. That's why I was telling you, Matt, I was a little nervous.
Well, we only have 3 people in our audience. So, I think our audience would probably be totally fine with it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. Brendan and Greg know. I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or a Nelson thing. I hate talking about myself. And I've just been named a spokesperson for Gubba Rum. And you all have rum coming your way, but damn, these snowstorms. I was kind of hoping you guys would have this rum so you could go easy on me or drink me to a 10. So maybe next time. But I
could do that without the rum.
Well, my power had been out for a couple of days, but already the snow has melted where I am.
Yeah.
Like right now, there's no snow, and I can see a little bit on a sidewalk, and that's pretty much it. It's already gone.
I don't have any snow myself.
Rub it in.
Yeah,
actually, Brendan will get it first, probably because it's coming out of Massachusetts.
So that is kind of an interesting thing. Is a rum company in Massachusetts. So what kind of sugar are they growing to make their rum with there in Massachusetts? Is it special Massachusetts?
They distill it in Denver, actually, and it's chemical free, preservative free. There's a Gubba Gold, and it's a vanilla base, and there's a Gubba Silver, and it's coconut base. The men usually like the vanilla, but you're both getting both. So I'd like to hear what all of you prefer. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, that's nice.
So hopefully you guys have some next time if I come back. So
we'll make pina coladas.
Have to have you on at some point. Well, the fact is that I probably won't be able to drink it until after the quarantine's over anyway. So
why?
Oh, that's a long story.
Matt's a teetotaler.
Let's just say that my wife has this thing about alcohol in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But what if the alcohol is in you?
It would still be in the house, I think. We'd have to do the show like on the porch or something, and then I could drink the whole bottle then.
Well, I have a recipe. Maybe you could convince Pryor with some alcohol. There's a Valentine's drink that Steve Gubb made, the founder of the company, and it's Godiva chocolate liqueur.
Oh, his name is Gubb. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I was wondering where the name of that came from. That was like from a Ramones thing or something.
No, and I thought
Gubba Gubba Hey, Gubba Gubba, yeah.
Yeah.
Gubba Gubba Rum, Gubba Gubba. No.
Yeah.
Not the Ramones. Okay.
Not the Ramones. So it's got Godiva chocolate. I'm interested. Go ahead.
Okay, so do so Gubba Gold with Godiva chocolate liqueur with Frangelico and some Baileys, and you've got like a really smooth, creamy. So give that to your wife and just
And
say,
you've got a bad
"Good,
morning.
hey, let's keep drinking."
If only that were the case. No, you have to understand, she's never ever had any alcohol.
Oh, well, that's the problem.
Does she drink milk? Oh God, I'm probably gonna go to jail. I was gonna say put a little in her milk and then a little bit more every time.
Oh my, poison her with alcohol.
Well, I guess Greg's gonna rethink this marriage thing now, aren't you?
Yeah.
She's
Well, I'm
probably
gonna take Matt's
she's
rum.
probably behind me listening to this right now, going, "What are you guys talking about?"
No.
Because she
Planning
can
on
only hear
getting
me.
me
She doesn't hear you
drunk.
guys.
That's what we're planning.
Well, no, she actually has gets an allergic reaction to alcohol.
Oh,
But how
really?
does she know she's
General.
never had it?
Well, no, like skin contact, even that. Or
Really?
anything that's fermented, she has a reaction to. So that's why she's just never had alcohol.
So no kombucha?
No, none of that either. Yeah.
What a tragedy.
I don't know that it's a tragedy not to have ever had kombucha though.
How is she with mold?
Not a fan. Not a fan of molds either. But she's okay with mushrooms. So
Pickles?
no pickles.
Really? So what?
This is my
If-
wife's on
so-
trial on this episode, apparently.
Yes.
What else is wrong with her? Well, let's get a list.
Well, what is your guys' favorite drinking choice? Are you guys rum drinkers? Are you pirates, or are you guys rye, or what is
Well,
your?
Greg
Well,
and I
Brady
typically, when
beer,
we're
right?
together, do lots of tequila.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's our social thing.
Yeah.
We-
I'm
But,
a,
I
I'm
prefer
a
bourbon.
Scotch guy.
You
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Which is
Actually-
interesting since he's Irish, that he would go for Scotch.
Ah, there's
know
a
what?
Scotch out of Calgary that was Calgary, Alberta, that was named the #1 Scotch last year. I'll have to find that for you. I don't remember what the name was. I've not really drank Scotch myself.
Yeah, I picked up that habit in Washington, D.C. because we had gone out, it was myself and another young aide, and we'd gone out with Congress people, and the other person had been on the Hill longer than I had. He said, "Now look, when you order something with the congressmen, don't be an idiot. Don't order a glass of wine because they're gonna think you're gay. Don't order a beer because you look like you're a frat boy." And I'm like, okay, so I said, like a cocktail? He goes, depends on the cocktail. I'm like, oh, this is high stakes. So we get to the place, the waiter starts with me and he says, "What will you have to drink, sir?" I'm 22. And I almost said martini. And then I checked myself and I said, Scotch. And he looked at me and he says, "On the rocks?" And I said, "No, straight."
Uh-oh.
And the congressman sitting next to me, or on the other side of the guy next to me, went, "Good choice." And I drank Scotch from that point forward.
Which
Wow.
congressman was that? Was it Barney Frank? Because he wouldn't have cared if you were gay.
No, it was not Barney Frank. Do you know who
Okay.
it was?
No.
It was Dick Armey.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
The infamous Dick Armey.
Dick Armey,
Yes.
who later went on to be Speaker of the House, I think, at one point, wasn't he?
He was a majority leader,
Okay.
and then he went to work for the NRA for a little bit.
Yeah, he was once considered to be the enemy of many people. So, yeah, it's good that you impressed him.
And he worked with Cock Navy for a while in Congress.
And the
Cock
other thing,
Navy?
Sorry.
What is Cock Navy, Greg?
He's a guy. He's a senator.
I'm not going to give that really obscene dad joke any credit.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
That's bad.
I'm
But
sorry.
you have to be a dad to actually do the dad jokes, right?
Was he the
know.
minority leader, Greg?
Yes. In my case, yes.
Anyway, I found out later that Dick Armey
Welcome,
was a
Sherry.
raging alcoholic. So that's what I remember about Mr. Armey.
So he was basically priming you for your later years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when we left there, I was like, wow, I guess I impressed. He's like, no, he would drink, straight, like Everclear if he could, but he can't because,
'Cause
I
they were
like
dead.
Everclear.
Before
I
you
think
became
when I
a
was younger-
spokesman,
huh?
before you became a spokesman for rum, was that always your favorite drink, or now you have
Yeah,
to say
rum
it
or
is?
rye. Yeah, rum or rye. I was a Crown Royal girl in college. And my best friend, she always had a date with Jack. Jack Daniels, and I was always with the royalty, Crown Royal. But Gubba, it's smooth. You'll like it. It's something with or without rocks. It's good. I like it. But Brendan, you're right. There's something to be said about what a man orders. It defines their character of alcohol. Because, like you said, you can't get a Jolly Rancher martini when you're in that environment.
No.
And okay, so how does that play with women? So if you go out on a date with a girl or something and she orders like a Pilsner, what is your interpretation of that? Or a Shirley Temple, or Jack on the Rocks.
That's interesting. If I was dating, which I'm not because I've been married for 20 plus years, but if I was dating, or when I was a girl that would have a beer, because there was something attractive about a girl that would get a beer, that would order a beer like a guy. Don't ask me why, but it was because they always a glass of wine. It's almost sort of like typical. So a girl would go, yeah, what kind of IPA do you have? Would be like, who is this girl? It's different. It's like a girl that drives a truck. It's just
or a stick, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I remember. Well,
drive a truck or drive a stick. I mean, like stick as a vehicle, like a pogo stick.
No, like standard.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
but if
I was just thinking,
Matt, if she drove a pogo stick or a unicycle, I don't know. That's pretty fascinating stuff.
While drinking
especially if
beer.
you're just drinking an IPA while using a pogo stick, it's like that's someone to keep.
Yeah, an IPA drinking girl on a pogo stick is definitely a Portland girl for sure.
Yeah.
And she might have a handlebar mustache, maybe.
Oh, probably so.
Oh, I heard you guys talking about that new mustache where and I saw that. I didn't like that.
Oh, it's like the monkey tail.
Yes. What is that?
Yeah, my ex-wife had sent me a picture of that, suggesting that I give it a shot. I went, don't. I probably will at some point. It'd be easy to do. I just got to get rid of this whole part right here, and there it is.
No, don't. No, don't.
Please don't.
No, like I like hair. Like it's a rugged. I like it, but not weird hair.
Brendan, I was realizing that Sherry's accent is similar to your wife's accent because his wife is from Minnesota. So there's like this very interesting connection.
People tell me that all the time. And I don't know if it's because I sold lumber and spoke on the phone to Americans all the time, because I've been told I have a mix between California and Minnesota, but I didn't know California had an accent.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about when they say California. They've lost their minds if they think it's part California.
California doesn't have an accent as much as it has a way of talking. I wouldn't say it's an accent. Like it's not like when I was with some friends and this guy said to me, well, I went to the place and then I found the thing, you know what I mean? And he must have said, you know what I mean, about 15 times in the conversation. I said, so how long have you been in here from LA? And he's like, how'd you know? And I'm like, well, it's just, you know what I mean? It's the way you talk.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Yes, and I'm conscious of saying, you know.
Yes.
And
That's
one thing I learned when I first started selling lumber was oftentimes Americans would, instead of saying goodbye, they'd be like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. That was their goodbye.
And I'd be sitting there going, hello? Oh, they hung up.
They're gone. Well, it's like on television shows, they never say goodbye. It's really a weird thing. They're like be in the middle of a conversation, then they just hang up, and you're like, do you guys never say goodbye to anybody? I never understood that on TV shows. Oh, and by the way, Sherry, you're currently muted. I don't know what happened, but somehow you muted yourself. There you go. I'm very aware of those things popping up on my screen.
Red dots.
Oh, she's muted again and unmuted. There we go. I noticed such things. Anyway, so you're currently in British Columbia. Are you like in still towards Montana? Or are you like near Vancouver, Victoria, that area? What part of Canada are you in right now?
Sorry, I lost the volume. No, I'm on Vancouver Island right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I may have waved to you a few months ago. Me and my kids took trips to the various different national parks. And I was up at Port Angeles, and we were looking at actually getting on one of the ferries and going over to Vancouver. And ferry is shut down, and Port Angeles is a sad, sad town. And,
yeah.
If you ever stay in a motel in Port Angeles called the Holiday Motel, don't run away. run away fast and go somewhere else. The worst motel I've ever stayed at in my life is right there in Port Angeles.
Are you going
Why?
to tell her what you did, Matt?
What I did.
Are you going to tell her what you did to Canada on that trip? An act of aggression?
Oh, right. I did have an
against a
act of
sovereign
aggression against the sovereign nation. That was when I was at Glacier National Park, though. So we're at Glacier National Park, and there's this gravel road outside of it, which if you drive on for about 30 miles, takes you to the Canadian border. So I had the kids with me, and let's go to Canada, because why not? It was in the middle of the virus is still happening, and there's not much else to do. So we drove all the way up there. We get to the border, and there was just like cabins and houses sporadically, but finally at the border, there was actually Border Patrol people in a building. So they weren't outside of their building, but their truck was there. And so I'm like, all right, I can only do so much. We can't actually cross the border without maybe them running out tackling us, which was the potential threat. So instead, I picked up a rock and threw it over the border, and I told my kids, this is how you act against a foreign government. So that was me.
Typical American.
But it was good to know how easy it could have been to actually get to Canada, because if I gone on the road a bit, the trees would have blocked the way, and I could just walked across the border easily and just keep
Really?
going if I wanted to. Yeah, but I think there's probably some major river in the way that would have caused a problem too. More than likely. I didn't investigate it further because I was trying to set a somewhat of a better example for the kids, even though they're all adults. They shouldn't consider.
If I ever go to the Canadian border, I'm going to throw chocolates over to undo what you did. An act of kindness for Canada.
Yeah, but you can't throw like Hershey's. You have to throw like Cadbury or something, or Ghirardelli.
Yeah.
Some like higher quality chocolate that.
No. Throw the $50,000 bar chocolate. We don't get those here.
Those are great.
I thought we only had $100,000 bars.
What?
That's when you break it in half.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what kind they're called now. Aren't they called $100,000 bars?
Well,
there's a currency difference between Canada and America, so it's different.
Inflation.
Currency.
It'd be a $57,500 bar.
Yes. What other things don't you get that you love about America? Are there weird little products we have that you're like, oh, I wish we had that?
Oh, you're right. Your dairy. Oh, your dairy. I am hungry as soon as I cross that border. And actually, last September, I was invited to the Sierra Pacific Lumber Convention. And I had finally met this man from Philadelphia. And so he and I had an extra day before our flights took off out of Sacramento. And I go, oh, there's Outback, Olive Garden. He goes, you're going to eat your way through America, aren't you? And I said, yes, because we don't have that Sizzler, Jack in the Box. And every time you have
corporate chain at a time.
Yes. No, but I love your dairy. Your ice cream, your cheese is amazing. But when I sold silver, a lot of my buyers actually were ex-professional football players, athletes, things like that. So in Canada, you can get muscle relaxants with codeine without a prescription. So
wow.
So that's what you traded? You traded like Oxy for cheese?
For ice cream?
No, I know, because I would send muscle relaxants with customs, they're probably listening. I'd send that, and then I would send dill pickle chips or ketchup chips, and I would send caramel chocolate bars or toffee. So yeah, that's what
I love this.
So you weren't. So it wasn't actually Oxy or muscle relaxants that were being sent. It was actually ketchup chips and pickle chips.
Yeah,
crushed and put into a capsule.
That's what the kids are calling it.
Yeah. Well, no, because I remember there was one guy, I don't know if you remember him, Neil Elshire, and he played for the Vikings. And he's actually in Bend, Oregon now. But I remember I would send him my muscle relaxants and all that stuff. And he goes, oh, I just took one right now and it feels good. I go, really? I'm going to call you back in 15 minutes. Call him back and I go, can you feel anything from the waist down? He goes, no, it's great. I'm all, I got some wood for sale. I want a couple of cars right now.
Drug them and sell them.
Much like the rum. I wanted to have some rum for you to drink.
I did have a question about the rum. So how did you become the brand ambassador for this rum company? Did that come out of the Maxim thing, or is that something completely different?
it kind of did come out of the Maxim thing. Well, when the contest was going on, I was a little shy about it because, like I said, I thought I'd be in and out in a week. And about the third week, a couple friends saw it and posted, I'm like, "Ooh, take it down," because I was applying for lumber trading jobs in the States. I really wanted to come and continue in lumber. And then a man named Ronnie James from Comcast and the Global Galaxy Network, he posted it and he goes, "Vote for Sherry," blah, 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 like that. And it just took off all over Europe and everything.
Wow.
Well, he and Steve Gubb, the founder of Gubba Rum, are good friends. And so just through him, we met. And when I was in Miami, I tasted it and I loved it. And so we're going to start a campaign in April. We're doing a photo campaign. We're going to do a kind of like a throwback to the 1970s, 1980s Black Velvet whiskey, high-end, campaign.
Nice.
So
Well, if
hopefully
they're looking for a podcast that has 3 listeners to sponsor, we can guarantee that at least one of those 3 might drink the rum.
We will take a shot every episode on air, except for Matt. Matt will fake it. Matt will take apple juice or something.
No, I can't do apple juice either.
We'll just do it on the porch.
Yeah. Well, there's wood behind you there. You're outside already.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. There's wood around us all. Why I have that, deteriorating paint job behind me.
No, but I think you guys are gonna like rum. I can't wait for you to get it and try it, and I think you're really gonna like it. I hope you like it.
I have a feeling that we'll have to do like some live streaming thing whenever we finally get the rum.
Oh, I love it.
And do something like that.
Yes, we should.
And then Sherry will have to get everybody that she knows to watch the live stream while we drink the rum.
Well,
I will.
Greg and I could the 2 of us could just get absolutely tanked, and you could referee.
Yeah.
I've been known that even when I'm the one getting tanked, I've always been a good referee anyway.
Yeah.
I was a story I was going to tell that I won't get into.
I was going to say, there's a reason I don't drink tequila because, I'm not a referee for sure.
He gets squabbly. He gets all squabbly.
Oh, yeah. Last good bar fight I was in was a tequila fight.
I missed that one.
Tijuana?
No, Dunedin, Florida.
Oh, my. Yeah, Dunedin would be the place for it.
Mm.
Bar fights galore, and probably lots of tequila there, too. So Sherry, I guess you're making the rounds of many podcasts because I was like looking you up and I found a number of different shows that you've been doing. And what's caused you to want to venture into this dark, interesting underbelly of the entertainment world?
Well, I really like talking to people, learning from people, and this is a selling lumber. I talk to people all the time. I would inquire about their needs, to the traders when they buy volume and, the demographics and things like that. And I like to learn about people, and you feel like you've won the lottery with some of the people you get to hold a conversation with. And I'm very conscious of the fact that the Maxim contest, I didn't get where I am alone. I got here with the support of so many people. So generally I try to give a heads up before a show and I say, does anyone want to ask a question? I want to be inclusive of, everybody and make a good show. And so I enjoy it a lot. And I remember I had just come back from this Sue Wong Oscar gala that I was in just before the border closed. And it was
back
really
in December, January?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost exactly a year ago. And
so somehow you walked into an Oscar gala from the sawmill in Canada. How does those two tie in together? So the Maxim thing happens in January at the same time. I'm lost on the timeline a little bit.
Okay, so throughout the contest, so many more people were starting to recognize me and vote for me and support me. And a few people kept saying, you've got to make a connection with Jimmy Star. And so I sent him a friend request and he was nice and everything. And then one day he phoned me and he said, I've got tickets for the Sue Wong Oscar Gala. Would you like to go? yeah. You know, I never ever
Yeah.
thought I'd get to wear a fancy dress or let alone be at an Oscar event in America. You know,
that's the same thing with Greg. He never thought that either.
You mean the wear the
Yep.
dress part? Greg's worn a dress many times.
But not to an Oscar gala.
Yeah,
They wouldn't let me in. Even when I
Right.
won the Academy Award that year.
What was your Oscar for, Greg?
Best boy. I was the best boy.
I thought you got best grip.
No, that was the year before.
That was the year before. Okay.
Were you nominated for anything for that Oscars, or you were just at the party? Like your lumber company wasn't nominated for anything in the Oscars that
no,
year?
Best
I
lumber.
was just
Best lumber
No,
in a
I was
film?
just-
No.
No, I was just a guest of Jimmy. And so when he called me that day to go, and so I said I was going to go, and then he phoned me and he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to work legally in America selling lumber. And he goes, okay. So he hung up, and then and it's an hour to town from where I live. So I about 10 minutes later, he phones me back. He goes, what is lumber? And so, so I
Wait,
explained
he
what I
actually
did.
he asked you literally, what is lumber?
Well, in the sense of, what do you mean you sell lumber and trade lumber and stuff? So then he goes, there's a TV show in there, isn't there? And I said, there could be, you never know. And so I went to that Oscar event, and people were really nice to me, and it was like a dream. And it was funny because people would say, you look just like Jacqueline Bisset, or that one Bond lady, the one Bond girl that just passed away. I can't remember her name, but
Carolyn Monroe?
no.
You kind of look like her.
Who?
Remember Carolyn Monroe? She was in Spy Who Loved Me. Lots of 70s horror movies too. But you do look like Jacqueline Bisset. As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, I could totally see that.
I was thinking more like Jacqueline Smith.
Oh,
from,
I wrote
Charlie's Angels.
But yeah, and so I was telling my dad that, and then someone had written an article about me, and my dad's so cute. He goes, well, they seem to like you down there. And lumber's so volatile right now. Why don't you try? And so I said, okay, I'll try.
Yeah, you never want lumber to be volatile, because that means wildfires.
Well, the lumber market up and down.
I like that the guy thought maybe lumber was some double entendre, that was some word meaning something else. I want to come to America and get into lumber. Wait a minute, what does that mean? Does she mean wood? Does she mean you really mean lumber?
Not realizing that in Canada, you're literal. There's no metaphor for lumber.
Yeah, it's just lumber.
This tree. I sell trees.
Did you
Cut
meet
down
any
trees?
Did you meet any celebrities at the Oscar party? Anybody of note?
I did. I met. Well, I didn't. I stood next to Chris Browning. I met him briefly, and I saw people from afar, but I'm shy, so But it was so cute because I remember Jimmy goes, Sherry, you need to go and get pictures taken with people. Get people to know who you are. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden, people kept coming up to me saying, "Can I get my picture taken with you?" And I go, "Really?" Okay. So it was really nice. And I met a girl named Michelle Ortiz, and her dad, I guess, wanted to get his photo taken with me, but so many people were taking their photo with me that he didn't ask. And so I said, well, if I ever need a +1, then I'll definitely ask him to go with me. But he's a cute man. So,
Cool.
but yeah.
Wow.
From what I understand, you have a boyfriend though, so.
I do.
Greg's out of the running now for the whole wedding.
Yeah, I thought I had a shot there. Just for the green card's sake.
Yeah, Greg, she did say that she watched some of our podcasts on YouTube.
I know. What was I thinking? I usually am so charming on those shows. I thought, though, anyone who would hear them.
At first, when I started watching, I thought Greg was the client because you never saw him. So I thought he was the mystery guy. And I'm like, oh, I saw a little bit of him there.
Yeah, Greg's the social worker's client.
Yeah, it was usually more like this.
Yeah, or somebody just saw the top of his toque, and I go, it's at the end of the show.
Oh, you're wearing a toque, Greg.
Got a toque.
Yes, I am.
Greg is normally like this, is what it is.
Yes.
You just see like the forehead and the top of the eyeballs. And that was all that.
I'm very shy.
But
Shy.
the other, I was listening before I went to sleep last night, your interview with that man. He was telling stories about Bob Dylan. And
Yeah.
Oh, Larry Hankins.
Larry
John
Hinkton.
Huston. Yeah. And you guys were laughing and having the best time. And I could see Greg the whole time. I'm like, okay, there's the gauge. If you're a good guest, he's there. If you're not, he's not.
No, my
Call it
phone
the
was
Greg
working good
forehead
that day.
barometer.
Yeah, he's the barometer. That's why I
I'm
said,
getting
oh,
disinterested. Losing interest. Losing
Exactly.
interest. What if I do this though? What does that mean?
No.
It means you're
Limbo.
heading towards the bathroom again.
Yeah,
Time to go make another drink.
I know.
Well, I
I'm
think
trying
this is
to
a
be
good
sober
time
today.
to start discussing our actual clients. So our client for today is America North, which is essentially just that, Canada is essentially just part of the United States. Most people know this. And unfortunately, like a lot of Canadians don't quite get that yet. And
Can we at least share with Sherry our alternate titles for this one? Because I think she might like
I
them.
think you just want to get the jokes out. So go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, Brendan wanted to call it America's Attic. And I doubled down and wanted to call it America's Crawl Space Canada.
Oh my God. I heard somebody call us that one time, and I thought that was the funniest thing.
America's
Maybe-
Crawl Space?
Oh, I heard that. I'm like, really? Oh my God. No, because so many people down in the States, they always go, I always thought you guys were just part of us. But okay, here's something. And Brendan, congratulations on the Super Bowl champs. But here's something for you. You know how half the audience enjoys the commercials? We don't get to see them. It's
in
so
Canada.
frustrating. Yeah, there's a
Oh.
censorship thing because they have this Canadian content thing. They want 25% non-Canadian content. I didn't see any Super Bowl commercials this year.
I didn't see any of the
That's
Super Bowl
hard.
this year.
Really?
But then again, I haven't seen the Super Bowl in probably about 30 years. So
See, Super Bowl is my holiday. I love Super Bowl.
is
I was
football
actually
real
supposed to
popular
go.
in Canada? I mean,
We
I know
have
Canadian
CFL.
football, right? But why
Yeah,
why,
we
why
have-
would you watch the Super Bowl if you're not following like the American teams?
I
or-
follow American.
Oh, you do?
And
Okay.
well, and of course, everybody in British Columbia, I think, was supporting the Seahawks for the longest time, beast mode.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Beast mode?
Skittles, everything. And I
Well,
heard
Brendan
you
is a
guys
big
talk-
Seahawks fan, so
Sherry, I've had there's back arguments that we've had on the subject of sports. These guys are anti-sports.
I'm
It's
not
just-
against sports. I just don't watch sports.
I am.
Anyway, whatever.
I
But yeah.
remember when I first started. Well, two funny stories when I was in lumber. I can't get into basketball, but maybe it's because I've never seen a live basketball game. But it's in the basket, it's back and forth, back, and the whistle's going all the
Exactly.
time. Kind
Exactly.
like
You
CFL.
understand me.
like CFL, the whistle is always going. Like you don't get to have the plays, and I do love myself some Tom Brady. I respect that man for his age, his longevity. My God, he's
And for
an
being
icon.
like on that TV show for all those years with all those kids.
What?
The Brady Bunch. Wasn't that
Oh.
what you're talking about?
You're so
Oh, you.
Oh, me.
Oh yeah. So anyways, when I first was in lumber, I was, I would try to get into the sport. So I had something to talk about to the
Oh,
guests,
right, because you're dealing with all the
Very
ex-athletes.
smart.
Yeah.
just so
Clever.
I can hold a conversation. And it was hard to get into the basketball. Vancouver temporarily had Vancouver Grizzlies, but I wasn't in
That's
Vancouver when. And
Well, it's hard to
So-
get bears to actually throw a ball into a basket.
But
the
I
Raptors
guarantee-
are doing good though. The Raptors,
The Raptors are a good team.
yeah, they're a good.
If it was
Hey.
Grizzlies versus Raptors, I'm going with the Raptors
I
every
think
time.
Canada is America's rafter.
I think the Grizzlies, are they in Oklahoma now? They left. They went somewhere. I'm not sure
No,
where.
They
you
had-
know who went to Oklahoma? Was the
hibernating.
Seattle Sonics went to Oklahoma. So Seattle lost its basketball team. They went to Oklahoma and became the Oklahoma Thunder, and that's when I stopped watching basketball. See, I grew up in Seattle. I grew up in the Northwest. I just transplanted somehow. Somebody, I think, drugged me, put me in the trunk of a car, and dropped me off in Florida and said, "And now you live here." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because the funny
Yeah,
thing is that Greg and I are originally from the East Coast, and we live on the West Coast, and Brendan is originally from the West Coast, lives on the East Coast.
Which
Right.
football league is better, Sherry? The Canadian rules or American style?
Australian
I like
rules football is best, Greg.
Yes, Scotch.
Aussie rules. No, I think American. I like actually, do you know what? There's a documentary, I think, or a series coming out about The Rock. And he temporarily played for the Calgary Stampeders.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Now, Canadian football, they have like a
Ah,
shorter
good game.
field. They have a shorter field, and the ball is
Yep.
made of wood, I think, right?
You
Yeah.
guys.
And the
Oh.
cheerleaders are polar bears.
They all have to chew on like handfuls of lard while they're sitting on the sidelines.
No, the ball in Canadian football is actually a live animal. So in addition to being able to hold on to it,
It's a
if
hedgehog.
It gets away, if it's a fumble, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen because the animal takes off.
It's an actual wolverine that they carry around.
Yes, it's a wolverine, a bald wolverine. They shave the wolverine, grease him up, and give him to The Rock, who tries to run him down the field.
I would watch sports if that was the case. I would watch that every week. Canadian football.
Imagine a greased wolverine.
Well, who is it? Is it Philadelphia? Who throws the octopus on the hockey ice?
I don't
Philadelphia.
even know what you're talking about now.
What?
If somebody's throwing an octopus on the ice in hockey, it's Philadelphia. 100%.
Or is it the Devils? Is it
It
Devils?
could be New Jersey. That's practically the same thing, really.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
I
No,
don't-
sports
I remember
fans.
when I was in lumber and I said, oh, basketball is just, I don't understand it very well. And then they said, yeah, but hockey, so violent.
Well,
And I
basically,
go,
hockey is basketball except on ice.
I guess, but okay, if you ever go to a live, I remember when I took this one course and it said, just look at the dynamics of the crowd at a certain public event. And so I go to a hockey game because I'm Canadian. And it's funny because the women are like, good job, well done, good job, next time, Johnny. And the guys are like, kill him. You know what I mean? So everything seems to, apply to that. Women are from Venus, like our drinks, like women, if they can handle a beer. There is some type of a difference in perception or.
Have you ever played basketball yourself? Have you played basketball as a sport?
Well, I was always
Because
in
you know what's
team,
really
always getting
annoying
handled
about
on
it?
school.
What
Yeah,
are
I
the
mean,
sports that
basketball-
what are the sports they make you do in Canadian schools?
Hockey.
No,
Hockey.
Oh,
well,
it's probably curling.
yes. Oh God, that is so funny because I remember when I first keep going back to lumber. I remember buyers would come for a visit, just tour the mill and see the lumber, and I remember I thought, what do you want to do when you get here? Oh, don't make me watch a curling match. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's so funny. It's a big deal. It's strategy. It's good.
Were you
My
a
dad-
slider? Were you a slider or a sweeper when you curled?
No, I'm not a good slider at all. No, a sweeper, I guess. I don't know. I'm more of an aggressive person, I guess. So I like running, or spiking the
Tackling.
ball.
Punching.
Now, is
Karate
curling
chopping.
specific to Canada? Are there
checking
any
into the
other
wall.
countries that really make curling a big deal?
Well, I think it was invented in Scotland. So the Briar, I think it's going on right now. It's a kind of like a British. Well, the Swedish do it. The Chinese are getting into it now. So it's yeah. I guess
End of that story. They're gonna ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, they're gonna just start winning all the medals now in curling.
Yeah.
They're like, we've
That's-
taken everybody in
that's
ping pong. Now we're going after curling.
That's until you get. All we have to do is get a few of our African Americans to be okay with ice, and we'll take it back.
I don't even know what to say about that. All right, so
Say what you will, my friend.
What was
Yes.
that?
I said, say what you will.
I'm just trying to forget it. And so, how many provinces are in Canada? There's like 3, right? There's
10
cold,
provinces.
wet, and north, I think,
Yeah. Well,
and
actually,
French. So 4.
I think we've been warmer than Florida. They said, wasn't Florida kind of cold? And Houston got snow the other day when you guys got snow. So
Oh yeah,
they
Houston's like
feel
down in
that-
the below zeros right now down in Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's like Texas and Louisiana. I would have thought that Florida would be a lot colder than it is, but it just stopped somewhere. Like about 2 weeks ago, where I am in Florida, in Tampa, it was down into the 50s, which is really cold for us. But it's been 70s all week. So
I want to slap you through the screen right now, if I could.
Please try. Let's see you do it, Greg.
Please try.
Slap him.
I'm doing everything I can, Greg, to leave here. So there will be a vacuum once I sell this house, and I'm coming up there. So
okay, we'll switch.
When you slapped him, Greg, it just looked like you had a neurological condition.
Your ticks are acting up again.
So do you like living in Canada, or like you? I mean, is it basically a nice place to live, or you're just bored with it? That's why you want to come down to America.
She wants the dairy, Greg.
The dairy.
All about the cheese.
Anything for that cheese.
Give me the dairy. I would just suck on an American cow's teat.
Yeah, no, Canada's wonderful. It's beautiful. In entertainment, obviously, it's similar to Portland. It's nice and green, and you have a great natural backdrop for anything. But for your industry, entertainment seems to be more involved down there. For myself, I wanted to trade and do lumber in your country just because of the consumption level. So the country with the greatest consumption level has the most power: China, America, and so. Yeah, so that's in Canada. We just don't have the population for what I would like to do, and yeah. So.
Well, you're in Vancouver now, so isn't that where it's kind of like the Hollywood of Canada, isn't it, Vancouver?
Yeah, Hollywood North.
So
yeah.
Are you getting exactly? See, Greg, America North, Hollywood North, it's all the same.
Look at that.
North.
Attic, North Attic. Attica. Oh, that's different. All right, no.
Northwest, Kanye West. Are we doing free association now?
Yes, please do. I want to hear you associate with Kanye now.
Kanye, Crow.
Kanye, Kenya, Obama, Biden, Trump. There it is. We made a full circle.
Back to Trump.
Where
in America, Sherry, would you want to live? Choose. Doesn't matter.
Obviously,
what part of the
Topeka, I think, is your choice.
I really want my father to come down with me, and he's so cute. No buffet, no bud. So he was down in Las Vegas right before they shut the border, and he's so cute. He phones me. He goes, "I'm coming back. They're shutting down the buffets." So I'd like to. Well, if movie reviews and more, Brian.
Now that's a good bumper sticker, Greg. I'm coming back. They're shutting down the buffets.
That's my motto. That's to me the lack of buffets. I'm right with your dad.
Yeah,
I would travel to another country.
Yeah, so I'd like to go to I think I'd probably make Las Vegas a home base just so that my dad would be there with me, and he'd enjoy it.
Just so he can retire and eat buffets. I don't think there's going to be buffets ever again, though. I think those are over.
Well, I remember my father and I, we talked, and he loves doing those cruises, and he was on the Queen Mary 2 when it first was what do you say, released, and he did a world cruise.
When it was launched?
Yeah, okay. I guess. And during your housing collapse in 2008, our mill, we shut down because we had no buyers. And so my dad finally took a holiday and he did a world cruise. And he had met this lady on there that she had sold her apartment in Manhattan, and she just bought a cabin on the cruise. Food, entertainment, you get a different port all the time. And so I was kind of hoping my dad would be able to do that. But again, they're probably the very last one to come back after COVID, I'm
guessing. So she never left the ship? She just like lives on the ship forever?
Yeah. And her kids would fly to a certain port and get on the boat and cruise with her for a bit and then get off at a different port. So I thought
that is an interesting life. That's like constant buffets, Greg.
I know. That's why I would love it. I would be a stowaway. I could try to be a stowaway on that boat.
Yeah.
You just need to run the karaoke there, Greg. They need karaoke on those ships.
This is true. I could earn my way without being a peg boy.
A peg boy?
Well, yeah. And one of the co-hosts on the show that I do, she was a singer. She's an entertainer from the cruise lines. And so, yeah, she she's missing the cruise boat. But yeah, I think a long time before they would get those not coronavirus, they'd get certain problems anyways beforehand. So they'll probably have the hardest, hurdles to get through to come back, I guess.
So which province in Canada is considered the least intelligent one?
I don't want to say that.
Oh, well, you can tell us. We won't tell anybody. We only have, like I said, we only got 3 listeners, so you can say it here. You're safe. And it's not you saying it. It's not your opinion. It's what other people think.
What if we couch it in the phrase, what part of Canada is kind of like your Alabama or Florida?
Hey, whoa.
Oh, you know how bad Florida is. Don't be
No.
all defensive now.
Now, let's straighten it up for our Canadian friend. And differences here. Alabama is where the racists live. West Virginia is where the low IQ people live. Florida is where all the crazy people that can't fit in anywhere else in the country come to live. So this is crazy town. It's not necessarily dumb town.
What about Mississippi, South Carolina, and Georgia? How are they differentiated?
They're like Hollywood East.
Georgia's Hollywood
Very
now,
enlightened.
and Georgia's blue. Georgia's practically, that's where everybody in LA is moving.
Or Nashville.
Okay, so let's say what part of Canada is West Virginia? Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
Well,
Say no more, say no more.
You're not going to
country
answer?
folk.
Well, they always say Alberta is like Texas. So
Okay.
they're right. So
That
they're
makes sense.
like that. British Columbia is probably like Oregon and
It's Manitoba,
Western
isn't it?
Washington.
Nova
Uh,
Scotia.
That's it.
Dumb as a rock on Nova
Went
Scotia.
silent
I think
when I
Nova
said Nova
Scotia is like
Scotia.
Kansas, probably.
No, I think Nova Scotia is like West Virginia.
That's where like
I
the
thought it was
Trailer
like
Park
Maine.
Boys are, is in Nova Scotia. So yeah, so you never see Trailer Park Boys, Brendan?
I did, but I never knew it was set in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, that's
Neither
where they're
did I.
located.
I didn't either.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I figured Trailer Park Boys. I figured that was like, I don't know, North Florida or.
No, I thought that was in Ontario.
Yeah, it's Nova Scotia.
Really? Okay, who was your favorite on there?
I
Julian?
can't remember their
Ricky?
names anymore.
Ricky?
The
Julian?
guy who looks like me. I like the guy who looks like me.
Ricky?
I think it's Bubbles.
Really?
Bubbles is my favorite.
No!
Bubbles.
Bubble.
Bubbles
Oh
is my
goodness.
favorite. That's his name.
I had this.
Because he did like the
one buyer-
bologna and liquor song or something. I think what it was called.
Yeah.
Liquor,
no,
there was
I
Liquors and
remember-
I have to
Whores.
watch this
Liquor
show.
and Whores is what I think the song was called.
Oh,
Liquor
Brendan, you'll
Wars.
laugh if you see it. That show or SCTV from the 70s was the best.
That's who you
SCTV.
sound like. You sound like Catherine O'Hara. That's what the voice I'm hearing.
Oh,
From
really?
SCTV, yes.
That's a
Yeah.
compliment. No, but if you ever see,
But from her character when she was in A Mighty Wind and she was part of the duo with Eugene Levy, that's the voice I've been hearing through this entire show.
oh, really? Yeah. No, but I remember having a friend of mine in Portland actually, and he posed me. He goes, "Who's Bubbles?" And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, so and so at Buchanan Lumber in the East said I look just like him." And I go, "Bubbles
That's
is an
not
national
right.
treasure, Pete. That's a good thing." And then he posed me back. He goes, "You're an asshole. I saw what he looked like." And I go,
I just Googled Bubbles and I can't believe you didn't talk me out of it.
That is not a compliment. So did you grow up watching SCTV? Is that a Canadian treasure? Does everyone
Yes.
love that show?
"Oh
I
yes,
do too. I love that show.
Candy, Eugene Levy, John Candy.
All of them.
You know,
Yeah.
the ideal man is John Candy's personality, Raul Julia's charisma. You know,
Was Raul
Yeah.
Julia on SCTV?
no, I wish, but
Oh, I
no,
was like-
he wasn't. But one of those. But no, my favorite SCTV skit. Oh, there's so many. Was Eugene Levy pretended he was another Canadian, Alex Trebek
Yes.
on Jeopardy.
That's my favorite too. Halfwits.
best.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
I was
Martin
watching it.
Short was on that episode, wasn't he? Martin Short
Yes.
was great with
Martin
the
Short
half
was there. Yeah.
Lawrence
And Guy-
Orvach he plays. I even remember the names.
Yeah, and Guy Caballero and Edith Prickley, you know.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I remember this now. Yeah.
And The best.
To all of our listeners, go to YouTube as soon as you're done and write Halfwits, SCTV. It's one of the funniest sketches ever.
Yes,
is very,
all
very
three of you go to
Yes.
Google, put in Halfwits for SCTV, but look under video, not under just images.
You know, Sherry, what I just discovered is after years of loving that sketch and having it on VHS even, I just found on YouTube, there was like another Halfwits, a few other, like from 10 years later when they were on Cinemax. Did you know about that?
Was it Quarterwits?
No, it was just like a Halfwits. They did other sketches about the Alex Trebek character going crazy.
Isn't Cinemax foreign?
No, Cinemax was just like HBO back in the 80s, and SCTV went there.
Now they
So I
called it
never saw
Skinemax because they had softcore
Oh.
movies on it, but it
Yeah,
was very
the
softcore
nickname.
stuff, you know. It was just,
The
just horrible
nickname
movies
was
with a lot of
Cinemax.
skin,
yeah.
but it wasn't really porn.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I geeked out about SCTV.
It
Enough
was
of
good.
that.
It was good for adolescents
No,
like Greg.
no, SCTV. Everybody's so sad and upset, and you know, SCTV is the perfect medicine.
Yes, I agree.
It's great. It's classic stuff.
Now that's
Dr.
a drinking
Fauci.
game when you get your Gubba rum.
Yes.
I forgot about the rum. The rum is a coming.
The
Yes.
rums are coming. I might have to break down with the rum and watch. I'm trying to remember, you guys seem to know the show better than I do. They had an ongoing bit, which was like a soap opera.
The days of the week.
Days
Yes.
of the week. Yes. I was a
forgot
big
about
fan of
that.
the days of the week. Yeah.
You can find that on YouTube, the whole thing. Also
Really?
streamed.
I'm going to have to look for it. That's
You know,
it.
we have gotten a lot of American national treasures from Canada. For example, one who passed away recently was Christopher Plummer, was Canadian.
Yeah.
You know,
Really?
yeah. You know, Martin Short, definitely Canadian. John Candy.
Helen
Canadian.
Reddy.
Helen Reddy. Anne Murray. Rush. Triumph.
Yes.
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers, right?
The
Mike
killer
Myers'
or the
children.
comedian?
The
Both?
comedian.
The
Hey,
comedian.
here's some more trivia for you.
Uh-oh.
The Shrek character, if he hadn't done the accent he did, he was going to do the I think it was the Nova Scotia accent. He was going to do a maritime Canadian accent.
A
Could
maritime.
you do a Nova Scotia
Wait, yes. What is
accent?
a maritime Canadian accent? I want to hear this.
It's
Could you do it for us?
I can't do it, but it's very fast. It's almost musical. I can't. Yeah, I don't know
Like
where I
the
can find
tinkling
examples.
of bells?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to try and find something that Mike Myers says in that accent. But it's really fast, and I guess maybe it's a little hillbilly-ish. I don't know.
Well, how about
but-
we just give you a sentence and you just speak that sentence in the accent?
Oh, I can't.
Well,
that's like
just, you know,
saying
we'll give it a shot. So
No,
save the
no.
sentence. I wish hobos would find a train to live on.
oh God. No, it's just saying real fast. And woo, woo, woo. I don't
At
know.
least I find the hobos doing like the train on like that.
You turn Swedish, Brendan.
And you've got my Lucky Charms.
Yes.
Well, it was
oh,
all I had when she did the you know, that's that Swedish, you know, Scandinavian.
Hitta, hotta.
I had some when I was living in LA for a while. There was some Swedish people, and then the girls had a thing they would do, which was like kind of a like when you would say to somebody they're talking and you go except instead of doing they went
oh,
Like
It
they were
sounded like
scared.
they were being surprised. They'd be talking and the one girl would go and then later, the one who spoke better English, I said, did your friend have a problem? Is that a tick? What is that? And she was like, oh no, that's like an American, like when you say, except we say,
Interesting.
And the
Where,
crowd
what
went
nationality?
wild.
What nationality was this?
They were Swedish.
Swedish. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I lived in the Philippines, the way they would call people down the street is they go. If you want to see a lot of Filipinos turn around in a crowd, do that. You'll see that happen.
really?
You'll think you're
And then they
calling
watch
them.
Cinemax.
Do you even realize how many drinking games are coming out of our conversation right now? Like
Drinking
the more
games.
we drink, does your accent change, or just start doing calls to people and see who's Filipino in the crowd?
How would that
Yeah,
be turned into
I
a
spent-
drinking game?
I spent way too much time during the campaign with each I was doing a lot of Twitter stuff during that time period, and pretty much every debate I had to come up, it became a thing. I had to come up with a drinking game, and then I'd tweet out the rules, and yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, how many times, whatever candidate, it was most of the Democrats here in the US, like anytime that Biden would say, listen, Jack, you had to drink, or, anytime that Warren or Sanders would say something, I forget, you had to drink. Anyway.
Anytime Biden adjusted his ball sack, adjusted his balls in the middle of the speech.
He did that a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, like a baseball player.
Really?
Yeah, he was chewing tobacco, spitting on Trump the whole time. What are you talking about?
You didn't watch the debate I saw.
I've heard, Sherry, that you're a huge fan of Prime Minister Trudeau. That you
and I've heard that is not
her
true.
Face got very serious all of a sudden.
Did they have a Nova Scotia look on it?
We're going to go down that path. If you want to drink from him and listen to him speak, every time he goes, you'll be hammered in 10 minutes.
Sounds like the governor of California.
Is Newsom,
Newsom is does a lot of weird stuttering whenever he speaks publicly.
I see there's a petition to, I don't know if those work, but I keep seeing, they hit the target of people signing a petition.
Oh, everybody's doing petitions because they all hate COVID and they want to blame it on their governors. It's like, oh, come on, people, just stick your mask on. Let's ride this damn thing out already.
We're not blaming our governor down here in Florida.
Because he's not doing shit.
That's right.
There's nothing to blame him for.
Nope.
That's right. We got to keep everything open and watch our old people die. We appreciate him.
I think if you look at the numbers on any, CDC or any of those, Florida's not doing that bad.
I'm not even going to get into this conversation. Anyway.
Okay.
Speaking of America North, what's the capital of the Northwest Territories?
Is it Yellowknife?
I don't know, because I know it's a province, but I realize that no one ever talks about it. They talk about all the other ones, but they never talk about that one, because that's where all the ice lives. All the ice lives in the Northwest Territories.
Well, when I was in school, we had 10 provinces, 2 territories, right? Northwest Territories. And now there's Inuit. So there's a third mass up there now. So
that was for the native.
Mm-hmm. So
is Eskimo a bad word to say these days?
Nope.
I just don't recall. Okay.
No, we're not like that up here. We don't condemn people for names. Can I ask you something though? And maybe it's because I'm a hillbilly.
Oh, no questions are allowed here.
Well, when they don't like who is it? Okay, if I was on a team called the Florida Panthers, I would think we're the fastest. We're fierce.
Sure.
I would think that's a slight against Panthers, right? I think no, but who is it? Was it Atlanta Braves? Now, I thought that when you name a team, that's because you're great and we want to be as good as that as a collective group to win whatever we're doing. And that's where I get, maybe I'm just, not that clever, but I don't think it's a negative thing to be called that.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Washington Redskins football team, which recently became the Washington football team,
which is my favorite name for a football team, by the way.
Which
what do they play? No, I'm joking.
Of all of the creative names that they could have come up with, that they just phoned that in and called it the Washington football team.
I want every team to be a generic name. That's what I want. I want them all to be that. I think we could go back and listen to this episode again. But anyway, do that one. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, I still like it.
That devolved into, why should there be regional teams? And that's just tribalism. Oh no, it devolved quickly.
I think she's talking about the Braves. It's tribalism.
But the point is, and I agree, it's not necessarily that if a team uses
it's homage. It's celebrating, and like they named them the Panthers because they're fast, they're strong. That's what I think. And it'd be the same as the Braves. Like, we're strong, we're gonna go fast, we're brave, we're
Yeah, there's not like the
Yeah, that's different because Braves is actually a cultural appellation for certain Native Americans that are part of like, that's what they would call men within Native American populations. They were called Braves. And so it's looked upon as cultural appropriation in that sense. It's kind of like Cleveland Indians.
Caucasians.
Right. It's
Okay.
like the Cleveland Indians, but because people are becoming a bit more sensitive about this terminology. For, whether people think the reasons are valid or not, there is a group of people who go, we're not actually Indians. We're not from India. We shouldn't be called Indians anymore. So you could call them indigenous, you could call them Native Americans, and you can't really, in my opinion, if you're not going to call them Indians, you can't really call them Native Americans either, because America is not a native name. If
Yeah.
you're going to call them something, call them Lakota or call them Pueblo or whatever the name of that particular tribe is. And the other part is that the mascots tend to be caricatures of people
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
those as well. So like with the Cleveland Indians, they have this cartoon mascot where he's got kind of like a red face and it looks like a propaganda piece that they used to use to badmouth people who
Were you
were
guys saying that
American.
Washington's going to change their football team name to the Caucasians? That's
No,
going to be
no,
the
no.
name of the football team now?
no,
And
they're
I should be the
actually-
mascot.
But I don't think that would work because of a number of gentlemen on that team are probably not Caucasian.
Well, we're
I
just
think-
talking about the
I
natural
don't. Hey,
speed
Matt,
and
I don't
strength of
see
the
color.
Caucasian.
I don't see color.
No.
I think they should be the Washington retards.
Oh my God.
Well, there you go. That's something that no one would
Well-
consider offensive.
That just pisses everybody off.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's an offensive term in and of itself. That is quite true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna do it, let's just do it.
But that takes us back to Idiocracy is now the episode. That was like episode 4 where we talked about the origin of the word moron. Have you gotten to that far yet, Sherry?
I saw that, and actually, I quoted Brendan's a line to a few friends that I thought was genius, and I wrote it down. I put, "Are people getting more stupid, or are we hearing from more stupid people?" And that is so pivotal because, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much fake news, and you were discussing this on the show about, facts and well, where's your source? And they keep going to the same source, but not diversifying their education to learn about an issue. So,
Right.
Well,
but like
Brendan
you
is
said,
here
anyone-
for the genius, pithy remarks that Greg and I are incapable of coming up with.
Yes.
Because we're too busy making fun of each other.
No. You guys have all said some smart stuff.
Oh, impossible.
Absolutely.
Not on this show.
So I told
right.
my dad, though, I told him the name of your show. He's so cute. He goes, "Jackie Chan work at that law firm?"
Nobody should.
Do you remember from Seinfeld?
He's an intern.
I don't remember that Seinfeld reference.
Remember he was always Kramer's attorney?
Jackie Chan?
See, I don't remember
remember
that.
that
Oh.
from Seinfeld at all.
Vaguely.
Was that the name of his attorney?
Yeah. And remember
Jackie
he
Chan?
was going to be, yeah, when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. He was
Yeah.
on a few episodes.
I'd have to ask one of my kids because we watch all of Seinfeld together, and I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Another famous Canadian, Jerry Seinfeld.
What?
He's not Canadian.
No. No.
Just
He's
kidding.
from New York. He's a
It seems
New
like
Yorker.
everyone, Canadians have given us all our best comedians, though, so I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like so many great comedians come from Canada.
I don't know.
There's
We get
something in the
all of our
water.
great. I mean, Steve Martin's not from Canada. Richard
I said a
Pryor is
lot.
definitely not from Canada.
Compared to Canada's population, they seem to give birth to a lot of great comedians per capita.
So you're saying that Canada is a giant mother giving birth to comedians?
Yeah. If you want to be metaphorical about it, poetic, like you always are.
I thought you were
Very,
being
very
literal.
beautiful way of saying it.
Yes, it gave
Lyrical. It's very lyrical. Nice.
Is it? So why is it that the dairy in Canada is bad?
It's not bad. But they take out a lot of the fat, I believe. And so it's more water-based.
So they only give
Um,
you skim milk in Canada?
Well,
Only
it's
2%.
supposed to be healthier, like they take out and add vitamins and things like that. But,
Fluoride.
when I would I love to cook, and if ever I made a good lasagna or something, I always made sure I went down to the Eureka, Montana, and I grabbed my cheese because it cooked better and it tasted better. And but you're
Did
right.
you ever did you ever have real milk like right out of the cow before it had to get pasteurized or anything like in a farm?
Well, they had that in the small town that I grew up, and then people reported them, which I don't understand. And
They
then
reported the
government didn't like
cows?
that.
What were the
Yeah,
cows?
the
Were
cows
the
are
cows
now-
rebelling?
They're in jail. The cows are now in jail. It's
They
all
arrested
safe.
all of the cows in that town.
But that shit is so good milk. Like it's so different than the milk we get to drink. I can't believe the difference. I only had it in I was 13 the first time I tried it, and I was like, I never want to drink normal milk ever again after drinking this.
Yeah, well, because it's pure. There's no additives like that. But I remember I took a lot of criminology when I was in college, and everyone loves, American dairy and ice cream and like that. And I remember reading on one thing, and it said one of the most requested death row inmate items for their last meal was Bluebell ice cream out of Texas. I've never had it, and I'd like to try it.
Bluebell.
I don't think I've ever
Someone's
had it
got
either.
low standards.
Bluebell ice cream is not half bad. Do they
It's
have
okay, but there's so much better ice cream.
You've had it?
What?
Like
Give me
what?
Give me a better ice cream.
Haagen-Dazs is better.
You like Haagen-Dazs better? Okay.
Yeah, it's better than Bluebell.
Whatever, Tommy.
Briars is better.
Nah,
Ben & Jerry's is better.
Nah,
If you want to be
Yeah.
a cuck about it, sure.
Okay, just like alcohol, they say that ice cream flavors defines character. So what are your favorite?
Yeah.
What are your favorite flavors of ice cream?
I have no character.
I'm a vanilla girl too.
Vanilla.
Vanilla's
I like the kind with tons of shit in it, like Ben and Jerry's, where they throw like 18 different candies and nuts and pretzels in it. Anything like that, I love.
There's a Ben & Jerry's one I was binging on. I can't do as much ice cream as I used to because age.
Yes.
But
because of mucus.
Because the what is it? The Tonight Show.
Oh, from Ben & Jerry's.
So it's a Ben & Jerry's. It's got Jimmy Fallon on it, and it's got like 3 different types of like cookie dough and like 2 different like chocolate and like a vanilla ice cream is pretty good. But
I had that.
If I have a
That's
preference,
good.
I go for like butter pecan or pistachio.
Pistachio's good.
I like nuts, so it's like there's one from Ben & Jerry's that has like chocolate covered almonds in it or something, and
you like nuts? That's good.
yeah, that's why I have a show with you two guys.
Yeah, there you go. but
Zing!
ding, having said that, my favorite all-time ice cream of all time is Haagen-Dazs white chocolate raspberry truffle. If you could find it,
I've seen they have that up here all the time.
it's amazing.
Why?
Yeah, 'cause I don't think it's
Food?
American ice cream either. It's like Swedish or something.
I was going to say,
Haagen-Dazs is
is
out in-
that German?
No, Haagen-Dazs is out of New Jersey.
Oh, is it?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. To be from Jersey.
So your favorite flavor, Sherry, is vanilla?
Yeah.
I do like vanilla.
Is you that
Haagen-Dazs
French vanilla?
No, Haagen-Dazs, I think they've got this salted caramel one or this ice cream broken cone thing in the thing. It's a good one.
Oh,
I'm
by the
getting
way,
hungry now.
have they decided to remove Quebec from Canada yet because they don't belong? Have they
Funny you asked that.
made that decision yet?
Well,
Uh-oh.
after the last election, actually there's been a movement for Western Canada to separate, but Americans never hear about that.
Ooh, Western
Yeah.
Canada to separate from Quebec,
No.
or
Western
from
to
Eastern
separate-
All of
Canada.
Canada.
so it
Like-
become like 2 Canadas.
I guess, yeah. It
And
would
you know the
separate
funny thing
from-
is that if you had 2 Canadas, then you could actually get the mascot from Fruit Loops to be the mascot. Because I'm sorry, guys, I really apologize for this joke.
Don't even know where you're headed.
Neither do I. Finish.
Toucan the bird is the mascot for Fruit Loops. 2 Canadas. Yeah, you should shut me out. Really, I should not be allowed. I should not be allowed near a microphone.
Here's my ceiling, Sherry.
Toucan, Canada, Fruit Loops. That's some word association. Are you sure you're not drinking, man?
Yeah. The sober
I'm
drunk
just-
of us all. The soberest drunk in
I
town.
can't help myself.
Actually,
I'm
you know
so
what? There's
sorry.
a lot of cereals that you guys have that we don't as well. Like they, and I don't know, I've not tasted it, but they say corn pops taste different down there than it does here.
That's because here they're
Much
not made with
better down there.
sawdust.
Yeah, and we don't get Count Chocula here.
Oh,
no.
That's because you'd think you would because you have more hours of daylight,
Vampires like it up there.
especially
Yeah.
chocolate vampires.
Yeah.
So you don't have like the Frank. I don't even know. Do they still make that stuff?
Yes.
Count Chocula? Okay.
Yes, last Halloween, not this Halloween, but the one previous, so 2019.
See, the only cereal I eat these days is Magic Spoon.
What?
Cereal.
The hell
Magic
is that?
Spoon. Magic Spoon is for people
Got
who
cocaine?
don't want the carbs from their that'd be a good one. They don't want the carbs from their cereal, so it's like a keto cereal, but it's actually really good. So
It's
you
made
can
out
only
of like
I think
lizard
it's
skin.
I think it's made it's from lizards and
Lizard
cow.
skin.
It's beef. It's beef and lizard is
It's-
combined.
It's a dried psilocybin mushroom.
I know it's also
And you
gluten
just
free.
hallucinate
It's
that it
gluten
tastes
free, sugar free, but it has a
Tastes
sweet taste to it, and it satisfies the texture for sugary cereal. So it's like I have like a
And then on
bowl
the
of that a
package
day.
is all like the little DMT elves, like in the psychedelic kind of like Magic Spoon.
Well,
If I ever
there is
start
some
eating-
weird psychedelic stuff on the boxes, to be honest. It's like these freaky cartoon characters.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I order
Mr.
that stuff.
Natural?
I get it by mail. I just get it
Really?
ordered here. Yeah, Magic Spoon. Look it up. It's actually they should be paying me for promoting this to the three
This is
people
quite
that
an
listen to the
endorsement.
show.
You get
It is.
great nuts up there?
And actually, Greg, I gave a box of that to Jen whenever I visited.
I remember that now.
That was the gingerbread flavor that they had.
Do you guys have grape nuts up in Canada? Because that would be a damn shame if you don't.
Grape nuts.
We
Grape nuts are
did,
the
and
best.
my dad loves it, and he
That
can't
came out of
eat
the sawmill, Greg.
Grape
Where they
nuts are
made
so
it.
good. I could eat grape nuts every day for every meal and be happy.
it. Really,
So
I've
good.
never tasted it, but my dad says he can't find it.
There's not much to taste in
okay.
it, trust me. I don't know what the hell
We should
Greg's
send
talking
you a
about.
box.
Greg has lost his freaking mind.
It's
Would you
mostly
send-
a texture than a food substance.
Would you send your address so we can send you a box of grape nuts to thank you for the rum that you sent us?
No, well,
Greg will also send you
No,
the green card application.
Yes.
everybody that sends me stuff, actually, poor Brian, everything's going into Las Vegas because of customs and the expense to ship to Canada. And he showed me a video the other day. I'm like, Jesus, do you need rent? Like, I got a lot of stuff in this place right now.
It's all being shipped to the guy you're co-host with.
Yeah, because customs is crazy and it takes forever for anything to get to me. So
Oh, I can imagine so. Well, we can just send it to you virtually. If we can set up Wonka Vision, we can just put it through the laptop. You just take it. It'll be a lot tinier, at the end. So we've used up a lot of your time. I'm sure there was something important that you wanted to convey to anybody who might be listening to us. Is there anything in particular? Because we've obviously, once again, given short shrift to our client. Our client is probably just going to wind up being executed because we're horrible lawyers because we're not lawyers. So America North is now happening. So no more Canada. It'll be represented by a bird, a toucan, because there'll be two Canadas. Why am I repeating this?
Double
joke?
down on
It
it.
stuck the first time. I don't know why I'm saying it again. Anyway, but was there something else you wanted to bring up, Sherry, that we totally glossed over? Something important? I'm sure we missed something.
About
No, I
toucans or anything?
no, you covered it all. I think I'm going to be ostracized from this country now, but I think we're good.
Well, you'll always have a spot, at least in the apartment next to Greg's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least.
Yes, at least
The
there.
very, very least.
But yeah, if you're ever down to Portland, feel free to avoid us because you probably should.
No, but
Yeah,
hey, do you ever go to the David Hill Winery? I was telling you, a friend of mine that I used to sell lumber to, his father, that his family owns that winery, and it's really quite
Wow.
lovely.
So is that like down in Dundee? David Hill
Down
Winery?
just outside of Portland, Oregon.
There's so many things that are just outside of Portland, Oregon.
Oh,
Like ditches.
Like the
and
rest of
trees.
Oregon.
yeah.
Like the rest of the country.
That too.
Brendan,
Yeah, that's
where are
actually
you
quite
moving
accurate.
What's that?
Brendan, where are you going to move to?
Vancouver, Washington. So just across the river,
He'll be your
Oh,
namesake.
yeah, yeah, right across the bridge.
right across the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've never, a lot of people come to Florida because they're looking to get away from the cold and they love it down here and the hot and all that. And I've never acclimated to the 9 months out of the year where it's just super, super hot and humid. Just never.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's just really sticky. And
I couldn't do it.
I'm not a beach guy. I'm more a mountains and streams and trees guy. So
Which they don't
Yeah.
allow in Florida.
now you have sort of that swampy cypress kind of thing, which it's got a certain aesthetic to it, but
That's my deodorant. So David Hill Wineries is in Forest Grove, Oregon. It's actually where one of my kids goes to college. So
Oh,
one of
yeah,
my
it's quite
kids-
nice.
go check it out. What is it his name David Hill, your friend?
No, Peter Stoynoff. But
Okay.
his father bought the winery about 10 years ago, I think. But it's quite nice there.
Do you have a social security number? Oh, just checking. Anyway.
Does anyone have an extra one? I need it. No.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very, very much for putting up with us because I'll have to tell you, it is a chore for anybody to come on. as a
No,
guest.
not at all. No, but I'm bummed that you didn't have the rum in hand. Could you imagine we talk about that? But you will. You guys will have it. Brennan will probably have it maybe Friday or Monday. So Brennan will get a quick
weekend. Yes.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah, I don't know. We won't have any additional openings for shows until like the
Oh,
end
no,
of
no, no.
March.
No.
But we
um,
can certainly do like a little mini commercial for Gubba Rum at some point when it arrives.
That'd be wonderful.
uh,
And I'll send you a recipe for your wife that pairs really nice with one of the rum. So it's
It
a
would
little
have
bit,
to be something that's non-alcoholic.
yeah. So
No. Send me whatever you got for my wife because
She'll
she's
drink
not
it.
allergic to alcohol whatsoever.
And
You're gonna drink it.
Greg refuses to ever have a wife, so give
Yeah,
him
'cause
both,
there's so
give
many
him both
offers.
bottles.
What? But he still has the blow up doll. What's her name? Is that
Candace.
Sheila? Susie?
Candace.
Okay.
Candace, yeah. Don't talk shit about Candace.
I'm
Sorry.
not. I love Candace.
But
when
what
you-
we can do is we can at least say thanks, Maria. So
That's right.
Thanks, Maria.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Maria.
Maria.
This has been the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker computer telecast, where any advice has been designed purely for amusement and deep-sea diving. Please take a candy on your way out, pet the lion tamer, and subscribe to this computer telecast if you know it's good for you. The Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker deny all culpability in today's events and are not to be confused with real law offices that have a secretary and books and stuff. Thank you all. Have a good day.